Right now, somewhere in your head, a clock is ticking. But the strange part is, that clock may not belong to you, and in a few hours, that clock is going to tell you something. It's going to tell you it's noon. And the second it does, you're going to reach for your phone, order lunch, walk to the office pantry, heat up whatever's sitting in your fridge. You won't question it. You won't even notice you're doing it. It'll feel automatic, involuntary, like breathing. But what if that hunger isn't coming from your stomach at all? Imagine waking up and realizing your breakfast is still running somewhere in the forest. No clock told your ancestors to eat. No pantry was waiting for them. When they opened their eyes in the morning, the world in front of them was empty. No fridge, no leftovers, no guarantee of a single meal all day. Sometimes not for several days. For over 300,000 years, every person who came before you spent roughly half their life in near total fasting. Not by choice, not as a diet plan. Just the hunt, the search, and whatever the land happened to give up that particular day. So what did the human body actually do, hour after hour, with nothing coming in? How did it not simply shut down? The answer is going to change the way you think about food, about fatigue, about disease, about what it actually means to be healthy in the first place. Let's start with the clock, because the clock is where all of this begins. Ask yourself something. Are you actually hungry right now, or did you just glance at your watch, see the number 12, and decide, on the spot, that you must be? Here's the truth. Eating 3 meals a day isn't written into your DNA. It's not ancient. It's not natural. It's a product of the Industrial Revolution. Centuries ago, factories rose up across the land. And factories didn't just make products. They rebuilt the human day from scratch. Before that, our ancestors were opportunistic eaters. Catch something, and you feast. Catch nothing, and you go hungry, and you keep walking. There was no set number of meals. There was no clock to check. Our bodies evolved inside that rhythm over hundreds of thousands of years. Feast, fast, feast again. Then the factory arrived, and it broke that rhythm overnight. Literally, overnight. A factory shift needs a fixed window of output. Workers on the floor at the same time working the same hours for the machines to run efficiently. To keep that system on schedule, the owners had to standardize hunger itself. So they set the rule. Breakfast before the shift, a short lunch in the middle, dinner once the work was done. Stay inside that schedule, and you kept your job. Step outside it, and you went hungry, and eventually you lost your income entirely. This isn't a metaphor. The 3 meals a day routine was never built for human biology. It was built for the assembly line. The factory didn't just organize labor, it organized appetite. The meal schedule wasn't invented to make you healthy. It was invented to make you punctual. Somewhere along the way, modern life hijacked our mouths with a clock. And this pattern, this rigid, scheduled, unnatural way of eating, has been quietly wearing our species down ever since. But here's what's fascinating. The clock didn't just decide when we eat. It handed us an entirely new physical crisis, one we've learned to treat as completely normal. Think back to 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. You'd just put away a heavy plate of pasta or half a sandwich the size of your forearm. And sitting back at your desk, didn't your eyelids suddenly feel like they were made of lead? Your thoughts went blank. Replying to one simple email felt like running a marathon. We call that a food coma. We treat it like a joke, something to laugh off with a coffee. But the real name for it is a blood sugar crash. When you load your stomach with heavy carbs 3 times a day, plus snacks in between, a massive wave of glucose floods straight into your bloodstream. And to keep that sugar from poisoning your system, your pancreas panics. It pumps out a hormone called insulin. Think of insulin as a bouncer. Its job is to grab that sugar and shove it out of your blood, fast, no matter how hard it has to push. So your blood sugar spikes. Then it crashes. Spikes again, crashes again, every single day. It's a hormonal roller coaster, and your body never gets off. That crushing fatigue you feel every afternoon isn't because you worked too hard or slept too little the night before. It's your endocrine system, quietly falling apart, meal after meal, day after day. And if your organs are forced to ride that roller coaster 3 times a day, every day, for years, eventually something breaks. Your cells stop responding to insulin the way they're supposed to. They go numb to it, the same way your ears go numb to a noise that never stops. That numbness has a name: insulin resistance, and it sits at the root of almost every chronic illness we associate with modern life. Now pause for a second. You're probably thinking, if I stop eating 3 meals a day, won't I just collapse from hunger? Science says the exact opposite. Going without food doesn't weaken you. It switches something on. A capability buried deep in your biology one researchers only rediscovered in the last decade. Your body was never designed to digest the way you're digesting right now. In 2016, a Japanese scientist named Yoshinori Ohsumi won the Nobel Prize in Medicine. He'd spent years studying one question: what happens inside a cell when it's cut off from food? What he found surprised everyone: a process called autophagy. Here's the simple version. When your body stays in a fasted state for 12 to 16 hours straight, your cells realize nothing new is coming in. So they switch strategies. They start eating themselves. Not in a harmful way, in a cleanup way. Picture a microscopic Pac-Man moving through your cells, hunting down the old, broken, damaged proteins, the ones that could eventually turn cancerous, and converting every bit of that waste straight into usable energy. Fasting was never starvation. It was a deep clean, running quietly at the cellular level, night after night, for as long as humans have existed. And that's not even the whole story. Because when your glucose runs out, your body has to switch fuel sources entirely. Your liver starts breaking down stored fat and producing something called ketones. And research has shown something remarkable about ketones. They're premium fuel, specifically for your brain. When your brain runs on ketones instead of glucose, it can operate up to 70% more efficiently. Think about why that would actually make sense from an evolutionary standpoint. When ancient humans were hungry, their brains had to get sharper, not slower. Hyper-focused, alert, ready to track and hunt across miles of open land. If people collapsed the second they missed a meal, the entire species would have died out in a single bad season. It wouldn't have survived a single harsh winter. This wasn't some extreme condition reserved for a few. This wasn't disordered eating. This was simply how the human body operated as standard equipment for thousands and thousands of years. But fasting wasn't only rewiring the brain. There was something else happening, an entire biological process that modern eating has almost completely erased. In gastroenterology, there's something called the MMC, the Migrating Motor Complex. Think of it as the janitor of your digestive tract. About 2 hours after your stomach and intestines are fully empty, that janitor clocks in. It sends powerful contraction waves down through your gut, sweeping out leftover food particles and dead bacteria, clearing the whole system out. Those quiet hours between meals when your stomach is empty and calm, that's the janitor's shift. But there's one hard rule. The moment you take a single bite, the moment your blood sugar rises even slightly, that janitor stops working. Immediately. And look at how most people eat today. Toast in the morning, a packed lunch at noon, a sugary latte around 3, a heavy dinner at 8, which means, for a lot of us, that janitor hasn't completed a full shift in years, maybe decades. Leftover food just sits there and ferments, undisturbed, in a gut that never gets a real cleaning shift. And that's where a huge amount of modern bloating, indigestion, and gut imbalance actually comes from. We conquered hunger. We made sure food was always within reach, at any hour of the day. And for a long time, we called that progress, without ever asking what it cost us. So, What happens if you turn the clock back? After going through all of this, the research, the studies, the science, I made a decision. I stopped letting an industrial-era schedule dictate when I eat. I turned myself into the experiment. For the past year, I've completely dropped the 3 meals a day model. My routine now is simple. 2 meals a day, breakfast and lunch, both intentionally low carb. I start the morning with black coffee. I eat a protein-heavy lunch, and then I skip dinner entirely. At first, people pushed back, hard. Family members warned me, using decades of hand-me-down wisdom. Skip dinner and your stomach will destroy itself, they said. I didn't argue with any of it, because you can't beat an old habit with a conversation. You can only beat it with results. Within a few weeks, my body settled into a rhythm that felt strangely familiar. Like something ancient, buried under decades of scheduled eating, had just been waiting for the chance to switch back on. Nobody told it to do this. Nobody coached it through the process. It simply remembered. Back when I ate 3 meals a day, I was practically a zombie in every afternoon meeting, fighting to keep my eyes open through slides I should have cared about. Now, running on fasting and ketones, my focus reaches a level I've genuinely never experienced before. My mind feels like a machine that was finally tuned up properly. Sharp, fast, steady with no crash waiting for me at 2 in the afternoon. I got leaner without trying to, and more importantly, my checkups came back with every single metabolic marker sitting exactly where it should be, numbers that used to worry me. Those numbers did something no argument ever could. They ended the debate with my family completely. No shouting, no convincing, just data. My parents saw the results and joined the 2 meals a day routine on their own. And across the whole family, health improved together. Here's the real reason so many of us feel trapped by modern eating. We've become too obedient. We do what we're told, without stopping to ask why. We follow the clock's schedule, because that's what everyone around us does. We follow whatever the food industry tells us to crave, because it's convenient, and it's everywhere. But there's one voice we've almost completely stopped listening to. Our own body. The one system that's been running this process successfully for hundreds of thousands of years, long before any of these rules existed. So if there's one thing I want you to take from all of this, it's this. Start listening to what your body is actually telling you. Stop being ruled by the clock on the wall, and start paying attention to the signals your own biology has been sending you the whole time. If you find yourself completely drained every single afternoon, with a fog sitting behind your eyes that coffee can't fix, I'm not telling you to start fasting tomorrow. I'm not telling you to cut out dinner forever, starting tonight. Don't chase perfection on day 1. That's exactly how people quit after a week. Start with something small. Tomorrow at lunch, just cut your rice in half. Eat a little less carbohydrate, and pay attention to whether that 2 o'clock crash feels lighter than usual. Or, this weekend, try skipping a single dinner. Just one. Let your insulin take the night off. Let your gut's janitor finally clock in for a full shift. And then notice how you feel the next morning. That clear, weightless kind of energy. The kind most of us haven't felt in years. For 300,000 years, your ancestors lived with total clarity while hungry. They tracked prey through open wilderness with sharp, focused minds, not weak, foggy ones. Their cells repaired themselves through autophagy while they slept, clearing out damage that would otherwise build up over a lifetime. It was a precise, elegant survival system, refined over hundreds of thousands of years, tested against every environment the planet could throw at it. And we traded all of it, quietly, without a single vote or a single conversation, for a microwave and a delivery app. Most people never even noticed it was gone. They just assumed the exhaustion, the fog, the crashes were simply part of being an adult. If this video made you think differently, or if you felt that exact same afternoon crash, hit like. It helps this reach other people who are stuck inside the same 3-meal myth without even realizing it.